Bard in Lake Town. And lazy writing. I really don't have a problem with him giving Bard such a big part in the movie. You know, it made sense to set him up as kind of like an underdog who needs to redeem his family name by killing the dragon. And I always thought Luke Evans was a perfect fit for the role.
So your ancestors were bowmen?
My father was an archer, his father before him.
And you?
I'm a bargeman. Nothing more.
But some of the decisions Bard makes are a little contrived. Let me pull out my dictionary. Like the writers needed him to do certain things for drama or plot development, even though they don't fit his character or make much sense at all. Allow me to explain. After we get to know Bard, we realize he's pretty smart, clever, thinks well on his feet, and is level-headed, unlike some people.
But Bard has the favor of the people. They see him as a leader.
A man of the people, looking out for those less fortunate than he. Then why for fuck's sake is his first instinct to aim his bow at a group of clearly lost, unarmed, and injured dwarves? Oh, didn't think of that, did you, Peter Jackson? It's not like Dwalin charges him and then he whips out his bow and arrow. He just waltzes up, weapon at the ready, and stands there silently and ominously until they see him and panic. Maybe it's because the screenwriters don't know how to create tension without characters physically fighting. And they never stopped and thought, okay, what is Bard doing before this? And why should he pull out his bow? It seemed more like they were thinking, you know what'd be cool? And who the fuck's this guy? Dory's inbred brother? How do the dwarves not see the boat coming to the dock? It has a huge fucking mast. If you do stop and think about it and try to get into Bard's head, Bard is probably just docking his barge and then hears voices. And rather than looking, he assumes he's going to be attacked and robbed, like a normal person. The riverbed running along the Elven Kingdom in Lake Town must be riddled with criminals. Remember, we find out later that Lake Town is kind of like a city that relies on trade and lots of people coming from all over.
It's the equivalent of a medieval trading center with goods and people coming in from every part of the world.
Bumping into traveling merchants nearby is probably routine. So of course he whips out a weapon and goes to inspect. Anyways, then when the man of the people sees he's outnumbered 13-1, well, I guess they're little, so 7-1. Instead of turning and sneaking away, he ambushes them. Man of the people. So Bard misses piercing Dwalin's heart by about 2 inches. Seriously, what if he missed? It's a small target and it's moving. It's a pretty good chance he could have killed Dwalin. Or what if his arrow glanced off the rock and went into Bomber's face? That'd be great. I'd love to see that. It'd turn into a different movie altogether. So Balin convinces Bard to smuggle them into Lake Town and to keep them hidden because they're wanted by the elves. And Lake Town does like a lot of trading with Thranduil or something? Thranduil?
Speaking out of Thranduil's realm.
Wait, Thranduil? Thranduil.
Speaking out of Thranduil's realm. Speaking out of Thranduil's realm. Speaking out of Thranduil's realm.
Hang on. Thrandul. Damn it, Peter Jackson, get your shit together. Anyway, so Bard knows that he needs to sneak them past the toll gate, and he had the forethought to cover them in fish. He even goes far enough to bribe someone who did see the dwarves. Then immediately after decides to walk them through a busy marketplace that is packed full of people. What? Everyone can see them. Are you going to bribe everyone that sees them? What did you think would happen? Then he tells them,
Keep your heads down, keep moving.
oh, well, because that'll work, you fucking idiot. In terms of character writing, the purpose of the fish gag was to show that Bard is clever and can outsmart most people. But this is ruined by walking through the marketplace. Clearly the filmmakers wanted 2 things. 1, make Bard seem smart. 2, a big CGI wide shot of the market with music going. Unfortunately, they contradict each other. Why didn't he tell them way back here? The market is still open. We will have to wait till after it closes and people are off the streets. Then the dwarves would be like, we can't wait, there's a pack of orcs on our tail. Again. Oh, well, you'll have to sit in barrels full of fish for a couple of hours. Or he could wait till they're at the outskirts of town, tell them to get in the water and swim. He has to do it later anyways. Then the dwarves climb up to the toilet. Because that's funny, right? I mean, toilet humor is smart and not insultingly dumb, right? I mean, it totally belongs in a Hobbit movie.
Dad, why are there dwarves climbing out of our toilet?
Will they bring us luck?
No, but they'll probably give you pink eye. Then later, when he thinks Smaug is going to attack the city, he says they can't leave because
There is nowhere to go.
there's nowhere to go.
There is nowhere to go.
Now, I'm not sure what he means by this. He can easily hop in his barge and take his children to safety away from Lake Town. You know, go camping for the weekend or something. So you can interpret this line one of 2 ways. 1. He means this in a metaphorical way, like Smaug will like destroy Lake Town and start a wave of terror across the lands. Therefore, the only solution is to stop Smaug by killing him. 2. He actually thinks the entire planet is contained within the borders of Lake Town, and therefore there's literally nowhere else to go. Kind of like the people who still think the Earth is flat. My guess is number 1. So as a father of 3, his first instincts would probably to get his kids out of town first. He is supposed to be a good father, right? Instead of saying to the kids, "Quick, flee the city, hide out in the woods," he drags his son along to help him get ready for a dragon attack. I know his plan is to save them by killing Smaug, but he could fuck it up. I mean, it is a dragon after all, and he only has 1 arrow. I mean, what if he misses? What if Smaug burns his kids alive before he has a chance to kill them? Imagine if this were real life, and some foreign country is like gonna drop bombs on your city. You know, would you try to get your children as far away as possible, or maybe to a bomb shelter? Or would you just ask them to hang out and watch the TV while you go running around trying to fulfill your destiny? If he said yes to the running around, you and your children deserve to be blown to bits. Remember this lady? She had the right idea. I doubt Bard would be a contender for Father of the Year. Obviously, the writers just wanted to have another action sequence where I'm supposed to care about the kids, but guess what? I don't. I don't give a shit about anyone in the scene. I hope they all die horribly. Come on, orcs, you can do it. Basically, the writers had some idea of what Bard should be like and what he should do, and rather than let his character and personality drive his story naturally, they shoehorned in a bunch of shit to try to keep things interesting. And if you ask the writers to define the word interesting is when a bad guy tries to kill a character who's had at least 10 seconds of screen time. But guess what? I don't care about these characters. Miscellaneous. Here's a bunch of shit that bugged me. The opening flashback scene has a flashback in it, and it doesn't tell us anything new. It only reminds us of what the first movie set up. You know, in case we forgot. Like we're stupid. This is coming from a guy who refused to do a recap in The Two Towers. Dwarves don't know how to use a door latch. Dwalin refuses to run from Beorn because...
I'm not running from anyone. Be still known.
Even though he's been running from orcs since these movies began. Lazy writing.
Wait for the signal. What signal would that be? Absolute. Go, go, go.
Oh my god, this scene is so funny. My sides hurt. Baron looks too awkward swinging his oversized axe. Look at his feet. Looks like he's doing a little dance. Dwalin uses his axe to find the path when it's clearly visible right there. You don't need to be stomping around. You can see it. Use your fucking eyes. Bilbo still hears the spider in English after he takes the ring off. Thranduil seems to like prematurely ejaculate in his pants, and for whatever reason they decided to keep that take in. The opening the cell sequence is over edited and painfully slow. In case we're retarded, it shows that every dwarf is unlocked and then shows an unnecessary CGI shot of all 13 of them going down the stairs. They even keep cutting back to the sleeping elves who are supposed to be on guard over and over to remind us that they're asleep.
Hold your breath. Hold my breath.
Wait, where'd Balin go? Oh, there he is. Bofur spits water out of his mouth because it's funny. Maybe if you're an idiot. Owen's dialogue does not match at all what his mouth does. Is that GoPro footage? Jesus fucking Christ. What the hell happened to you, Peter? Peter Jackson devotes 5 seconds of screen time to his pugs. He couldn't even put them in the background. He gave them their own fucking scene. Makeup lines. Why did they give the pig a close-up? And there you have it. The Desolation of Smaug is a bit of a stinker. And it goes to show that you can have all these great actors, top-of-the-line technology, and still make a movie that fails. Not in the box office, but in terms of winning people's hearts over. But why? Probably a bunch of things. Like Peter Jackson not giving a shit about them anymore. I know he says he liked making them, but I get the sense that the studio is kind of forcing him to say that for marketing purposes. Some of his behavior on set resembles that of a drunk, sarcastic jerk who's just fucking with people.
I cannot stand fish. I have never been able to eat fish in my life. I can't even stand the smell of it. But I did like burying the dwarves in stinky, wet, horrible fish.
He just really enjoyed putting those dwarves through shit.
Huge smile on his face, really excited at the prospect of throwing eggs. I mean, a little too excited, in my opinion, a little vicious sort of glint in his eye.
Look, occasionally we should just make it unpleasant. I mean, they have to learn, otherwise they're going to be very misguided, misbalanced human beings. And so I think it's my role, in a way, to kind of to abuse them.
An arrow!
Throw me a dagger! Quick!
Let's just try that one more time. Just a still roll, but just go back. Why don't we just pick it up? Still rolling. Aidan, why don't we just do a pickup from the time that the spider rips the sword out of your hand? Okay.
And instead of doing what would help the movie, he often decides to go with what would be cool. Kind of like he was creatively tapped a long time ago and is just coasting now, trying to have fun, so he doesn't kill himself. His wife seems to be making smarter decisions than he is.
Fran and I saw the footage and Fran absolutely vetoed it. She said, no, this is some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life.
That's stupid. Get it out. Cut it out. It's got to be good. Stupid.
Like she's trying to save his ass.
Hey, Fran, how does that look?
I no longer see the man who is putting his blood and guts into the production. And if you watch the appendices and see how much was shot that did not go into the movie in any way, you realize he's not so much trying to tell a story as to shoot a ton of shit, pick what he thinks is the best, and try to carve it into a movie. It's true Peter Jackson has been shooting movies this way for a while, including The Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's a lot of footage out there that never made it into the movies, but it was mostly little bits of a scene that weren't necessary, and the occasional deleted scene. But with The Hobbit, it seems to be way more extreme. There are several scenes that did not make it into just this one movie at all.
Like a bunch of film school students being like, let's shoot a scene from The Hobbit. It'll be a scene between Legolas and Thranduil. And maybe what's going to happen in the scene is Tauriel has just left.
It was one of those scenes that we sort of thought we might need.
Then the scenes they do keep, they make look more better with CGI.
Ellen, have you designed our set yet?
It was a set that didn't exist. So we're told that, you know, put up a green screen and Alan Lee will come in and tell us what we're seeing.
You might be saying, oh, come on, the movie's not that bad. Well, you'd be right to a degree. Some of the visual effects are fantastic, the sound is top-notch, and most of the production design is great. The movie is a spectacle for the senses, and Peter Jackson deserves some credit for that. But as soon as you think about the story and the characters for more than a minute, it all falls apart. And this was the follow-up to The Lord of the Rings? I felt bad for Peter Jackson. You watch some of the special features, you can tell that he doesn't really want to be there. I'm glad that the Hobbit movies are finished. Hopefully Peter Jackson will move on to something he wants to direct. It's like Peter Jackson spent too much time with the art designers in pre-production and not enough time with the script. Assuming there was a script. As a result, you get a bloated, meandering mess, instead of a movie with a heart and a story. The Lord of the Rings was a labor of patience and passion. The Desolation of Smaug was a bunch of bad decisions, driven by profit margins. And it makes me sad.